Welcome back. It is Wednesday, and that means plant and garden expert Craig Hignight is joining us live to answer all of your burning questions. We're going to get going here from Laura. Is this a good time to transplant redbud seedlings?
Yes, they're just now starting to leaf out. Remember that they have started with a real taproot, so you want to take a nice deep chunk of soil as you're moving them and get them out of the ground, back in the ground as quickly as possible.
Paul is asking, did I miss my opportunity to trim my pear trees?
Not really. It is late, but you know, Mother Nature's running a little bit ahead. You could do some light pruning still at this point. I would suggest it. I suggest never missing a year on pruning your fruit trees.
Alrighty, well, this is from a viewer, so this is a kind of a confusing one to say. So I have a rhododendron that's only blooming towards the bottom of the plant. It was trimmed late summer last year. What's going on?
The trimming. What you did, if you trimmed in late summer, you cut the flowers off the top of the plant. Remember that rhodies, azaleas, lilacs, they set their bud very soon after they get done blooming. So you prune immediately after all those things get done blooming, and then put the pruners away for the rest of the year.
Mick is wondering, does concentrated vinegar make a good weed killer?
Yeah, I had a lady come in the other day looking for that, but I assume that you're going to have to get it online. You don't find that concentration of acetic acid available at normal retail usually.
All right, this is from Robert. So I saved coffee grounds and eggshells over the winter. Are these worthwhile to use anymore in my garden, and where would they be most beneficial?
Any plant. Just pull back the mulch around your plants, put down the eggshells, coffee grounds, put the mulch back over. This is all good organic matter that will slowly work its way down into the soil.
When do you stop harvesting asparagus and let it grow into ferns for the season in a 3-year-old patch?
Okay, you always stop harvesting asparagus when it gets down to the size of your index finger. Once that is the size of the stems coming up, stop. Let everything else come up and grow out, making food for next year's asparagus.
All right, perfect. So this is from Elaine. So we accidentally put preen on all organic raised garden bed. What can we plant there, and should we wait a few months to let preen dissipate?
Well, if you're growing from seed, you're going to have to wait at least 6 to 8 weeks before you plant any seed. The preen will stop all seed from germinating. Past that, if you're using transplants, you can put anything in. Once the seedlings are 3 to 4 inches tall, they're immune to preen.
Susan says that they have a Honeycrisp apple tree, and for the last few years, the apples get a brown spot on them and start to rot as they grow to full size. What can I use on it?
Okay, if you've got apple trees, I hate to tell you this, but you're actually going to have to do some spraying. And what you do, you wait until petal drop. That's when all the flowers have come off the tree. You then come back in with an all-purpose fruit tree spray, and you're going to spray 5 times, 10 days apart. So that's going to cover the first 50 days of your growing season. And, you know, people come in and they say, I've got fruit trees, but I don't want to spray. Well, then you have to live with the spots.
All right. Well, this is from Ed. What are the best plants for shallow containers?
Shallow containers, I like things like moss rose, impatiens can do well if it's in a shady area. I don't want to get too shallow. You don't want to go much shorter than about 3 to 4 inches deep. You can also use things like Lysimachia, that's a ground cover. True baby tears, that's a ground cover. As far as the blooming plants, you might try Mechardona, but ask when you come in, and we'll direct you to plants that can be used.
Some of my tulips grow big leaves but never get a tulip flower on them. Otherwise, most of my other tulips in the same area do just fine. I don't cut them until they turn brown every year. What's going on, and what should I do?
You should reset. Go out now and mark that area where those bulbs are not blooming so that you can find them the 1st of September. You will go ahead and lift the bulbs out of the ground and space them out. What has happened? They're crowding each other out, and they just physically cannot get big enough to make a good bloom. So September 1st, you dig, divide, space them out, usually about 6 inches apart when you put the bulbs back in the ground.
Alrighty, perfect. We're going to take just a couple-minute break here, but when we come back, we will answer more of your burning questions, so make sure to get on that WQAD Facebook page. We'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. It is 11:49, and we are here with Craig Hignight, our plant and garden expert, and we are going to get going here again with Karen. And she says, I cut back my knockout roses. New growth has started at the bottom, and there are vines at the top with no growth. Can I cut those off without damaging the roses?
Yes, we've had a lot of questions come in that if you've got new growth coming around the bottom of a plant and a lot of bare stems sticking up, take them out. You can take out dead wood anytime. Remember, this late fall, early winter, make sure you give them a good watering. What you've experienced is winter burn and dieback on those plants.
Kim is wondering, what's the best way to repot a blooming peace lily?
Well, you want to wait until the day it's ready for water. You choose a pot that's probably 2 to 3 inches bigger. It's out of one pot back into the new pot with fresh potting soil. Give it a good thorough watering. You might go ahead and use the root stimulator. The plant is probably never even going to realize it's been touched. Remember, it's going to dry out more slowly with that fresh soil without roots in it, so watch your watering after the transplant.
Alrighty, perfect. Well, next one, when can Virginia bluebells be moved?
I would move them as soon as, well, no. Actually, bluebells are pretty tough little devils. Go ahead, even if they're in bloom, if you can get your hands on them legally, go ahead and lift them with a nice clump of soil and get them moved into your yard as soon as possible.
Dawn says that they have a 2-acre pasture that they'd like to put weed and feed on. What are some places that they can maybe buy that in bulk?
Boy, I'd check with a farm services of some kind. I don't know of any retailers that sell that kind of fertilizer in bulk.
All right, well, this is from one of our viewers. So I have Creeping Charlie. If I plant clover, will it choke the Creeping Charlie out?
No, Creeping Charlie is a pretty darn good competitor. I don't think Creeping Charlie is going to not take over your clover.
What would you recommend people use to get rid of the Creeping Charlie?
Then you use the weed-free zone. Remember, 24 hours without rain, definitely below 80 degrees. And of course, keep your animals off of it until the weed-free zone has dried. It is a liquid spray that you can put on, keep it off of desirable plant material.
Okay.
Perfect. Alrighty, well, this is from Amanda. So how long can hostas be out of the ground awaiting transplant before dying?
Weeks, months. Go ahead, lift them with a nice clump of soil, put them up against the north side of the building where they're not going to get any sun on them. Maybe mulch them in with just El Cheapo hardwood mulch. As long as you keep them watered, they're going to be just fine. These are tough little devils.
I was going to say, when we moved last year, we put them in a bucket, and they lasted for about a year. So
Yeah.
Wow.
they're good now. Victoria, can I still prune my cherry trees?
Yeah, you can do your light pruning. I don't think I would get carried away this late in the season, but like I said before, I don't want to skip any year in pruning.
Alrighty, perfect. Well, this is from Melinda. Can I plant white pine trees near walnut trees?
Well, you can try. Walnuts protect themselves. They put out that jugulone that drips off the tree and comes out of the roots, and many people have trouble growing anything near a walnut tree because they are allelopathic. They protect themselves.
What is the best mix to fill a raised bed?
Well, if the bed is actually connected to the ground with no bottom in the bed, you can use regular garden soil, dirt. Make sure you add some peat moss and compost. If the bed, or if it's raised and not connected to the ground, then you use potting soil. Regular garden soil in a raised container turns to cement. So then you would use potting soil.
All right, a lot of great questions this week. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Craig,
thanks,
again,
Craig.
for joining us for your expertise. We'll see you next week. But be sure you join our Facebook Live with Craig each and every Wednesday, where you can submit your questions and be part of the conversation. We'll be right back.